Broadcasting from Silicon Valley, California, this is Conversations with Jennylyn.
You're watching Conversations with Jennylyn, and this week I am back and Mel is here with me on popular demand. But actually, she hadn't abandoned me completely. She was busy, and I'm so happy that she is here with me today. Normally, I prepare what I'm going to share, but today I decided that I'm just going to go with the flow and ask my guides to guide the show, as I'm sure Mel's guides will guide us. So much has happened. So much happens in a week. And I know a lot of you have been asking me, when are we going to have the end? I don't know. Hopefully soon. And when I say the end, I'm sure that I will continue to have experiences that might be worth sharing just to make you aware. And so you can probably learn to protect yourself if you are someone or know someone who has similar challenges. But we will be putting out a book. I couldn't say when because we both have very busy lives, but I promise you it will be out before I die. And in that book, all that we omit when we tell you what's happened in a given week, we will put in the book. Mel, welcome back.
Thank you for having me, as always.
I know you were missed. The segment without you was not quite as interesting. I think they were just tired of hearing mumbling. We've started to get the voice already.
Wow. Well.
Anyway, I just heard it. You were gone, and while you were gone, you were still helping me on the road. Because I was woken up one morning, like I'm always woken up, and told monitoring spirits. And I always relate to you what it is I'm told, because then you're able to understand the messages that I'm receiving better than I can sometimes. Do you want to share with my viewers why you think I was given that message?
Yes. Well, we have always been wondering how they seem to know what it is we do when we speak, what's happening between us, because you often indicated that the attacks would begin exactly the moment that you would text me or that you would call me. And so somebody was definitely listening in. And for a while, it's very difficult to discern or understand what might be happening. We often likened it to Judge Man or, Sandra listening in some shape or form, not them themselves, but rather the entities that they are connected to. Okay, so now, as such, a monitoring spirit is actually a demonic entity, is what I would call it, that has been sent to not only listen in, but to also do damage or attack. So they do both, I think. So that sort of took it a little bit further. That allowed us to understand a little bit more as to maybe why they know exactly what's happening and when. Now, here's the crazy part. I actually, on vacation, I for a couple days there, I was feeling a little bit weird. And when you're on vacation, because that's where I was, okay, so for your viewers, I wasn't here because I was away. I took some time off with my family. And during that time, I didn't have the amount of time to meditate or to do the things that I normally would do, right? And I noticed that a couple days I wasn't feeling as well or like myself, like I normally would be. And it turns out I did check in eventually, and I did have what I would consider to be one of those monitoring spirits. Okay, it was sitting sort of on my back, and they're not shall I say, they're not dangerous in a sense that it wasn't attacking me per se, like it would attack you or it would do. It was simply there to probably bring back information as to what's happening. Now, the funny thing is, and I will say this, remember you asked me where I was going, right? And my spirit team actually told me not to relay this information to you in writing because, for some reason, I guess the monitoring spirits aren't smart enough to determine or relay what's happening just by looking at it. But they are somehow picking up on our conversation. So I wasn't able to provide you with this information until I got back, right?
Right.
So here's the thing. Since I've been back, I haven't been fully able to tap into the monitoring spirits that are potentially around you yet. Okay, because there's been a lot of stuff. I had to do a lot of things that was happening in the week that I was not there. As a matter of fact, Dutchman was quite busy, and Raul, if you remember, Raul was quite busy for a while there too, until until that one day when things stopped with Raul.
Yeah. So you put him down.
For some reason, I have actually asked my spirit team, and they tell me that he's no longer involved. So for some reason, at least not now, so I don't know what happened, but for some reason, we either took him down or he chose not to engage any longer because maybe he thought that he didn't want to risk losing his, shall we say, his abilities. Okay, because remember, he's just hired, right? And I think there was a part of him that just encountered some sort of greater force coming from the divine that I think he just said, I'm out. I honestly think that's what happened. I don't think that any of these people have encountered the kind of pushback that they've received since I've been working with you. And this is not because of me personally, although, I do some things, I'm the vessel, but it is primarily because of who I work with. Okay, this isn't just me. This is the divine. Those are the entities and the archangels that I'm working with in this case. It isn't just me. So, yeah, Raul sort of stepped out of the picture, and you can tell people that we think Sandra might be out of the picture too.
Yeah, and I'll share with you guys. While Mel was on the road, as much as she can, every day, sometimes twice a day, she had to clear me, because what we are understanding is these monitoring spirits follow us both, and when they know I'm in a situation where I cannot help myself, I count on Mel to help me. They were on the attack in a big way. I just heard the voice again. So one afternoon, shortly after Mel returned, I was coming home from work, and an attack was launched on me to where I could hardly use my leg to apply pressure to my brakes to drive myself home. And normally I'll text Mel, I just had an attack, here is hurting, wherever, and she would clear it. This time it was so bad, I phoned Mel, and I was praying she was not with a customer or with someone, because then I can't expect to interrupt her to help me. But I felt paralyzed because I was driving home in intense, heavy 5 o'clock traffic, and this happened. So Mel checked, and sure enough, Chinese Sandra Tang sent her minion that stalked me in the grocery store, because we've already told you Sandra Tang was rendered null and void when it comes to her practices with dark magic and dark arts. And so she went to this lady who stalked me to help her. And Mel, I don't know how much of that you can share, but over to you.
Well, obviously, when that happened to you, the first thing I do is tap in, right, to see what's going on, because this could be anybody, right? This could be Dutchman. This could be, Sandra, this could be anyone. For all we know, someone else might be involved. But it had the energy signature of Sandra all over it. And actually, that woman, again, that Chinese woman that you, encountered in the store. And so I asked, for assistance from my spirit team to sort of, allow me to understand what's happening so that I can counteract it, so that I can do something about it. And what was shown to me was I was actually given a visual at that very moment. And the visual was of this particular Chinese woman engaging in a ritual, in a blood ritual. Okay. And I think I'm going to leave it at that. Let's just put it this way. An animal lost its life. Okay. So, and that's what was shown to me. And that's what Spirit told me is the reason for why the attack was so strong. Okay. Now, there were others there too. I think she was working with other people. There were like three other people there too, but she seemed to have been the leader of the bunch. Okay. So that's the way I sensed it. And because she was doing all the work. And let's just put it this way. I'm trying to see what I can tell your audience here without getting a little too graphic or a little too much into it. What was shown to me was that, maybe I should backtrack so that your audience understands what is actually happening or what the purpose of us waiting so long or having to keep doing this is. I mentioned this in one of the other videos that we did, is that there's a due process, remember?
Yeah.
There's a process that needs to take place when you are binding someone or when you are doing something for someone that's doing dark magic of that kind of caliber or that kind of thing, is that they can be sort of taken down. I use the word taken down so that they can no longer do harm to other people. Okay, we're not talking about physical harm to them. That I would never suggest that, but taken down so that they cannot do anything. And in this particular case, since the Chinese woman there was connected to Sandra, and Sandra had already overstepped her bounds, okay, at that moment in time. This is why she could not do it on her own, okay? That's why she needed help. But here she thought to trick, her own kind, or whatever you want to call it. And to make a long story short, it didn't work out so well from what I gather, because the image I received at that moment was that a pretty powerful dark entity, that's what I will leave it at, showed up by the Chinese woman and did something to her, okay, which rendered her, I saw her literally fall over. And she wasn't harmed permanently, okay, but she lost consciousness or something. Honestly, that's what I thought. This is the image that I received. Now, I had nothing to do with this, okay? I'm just observing this. This is being shown to me. And then this really dark entity sort of made gestures to me that indicated it will now go after Sandra. And I just stayed out of it because this is none of my business. Okay. I don't, and interestingly enough, it did. And do you know, the moment this woman keeled over and fell over and this entity went after Sandra, you had everything stopped. Remember?
Yes,
it was like instant, like everything stopped. And even after you went home, some of the things that were associated with her, they weren't happening. So we knew for a fact that whatever it is that happened to the both of them took them out of commission on some shape or form. And that's precisely what your audience needs to understand. I'm basically assisting you in keeping those attacks at bay, and until such time that these people are sort of digging themselves a hole and fall into it and can't get out of it because they're getting in trouble with their own kind. Again, that's a due process. In this case, the divine didn't have to do anything. The demonic did something, okay? Because they violated something. She violated something that she overstepped some sort of boundary that she should not have had. And you and I are not privy to everything that goes on and those boundaries. All I know is that these boundaries exist, and that whatever I do, I'm being guided so that if they continue, they will overstep these boundaries. That's the purpose of my work, okay? So that they're basically taking themselves out. I don't have to do anything. They do it to themselves. And that is precisely what is happening to Dutchman now too. And I will tell you, and I'm looking the camera for this because I know he's going to be watching this. He's next, okay? I have already received information that he's next. He's very close to doing that for himself. And again, it is different for him because he's working with reptilian. Okay, so it looks different, and that's why it's a different process, but the process exists, Dutchman. Okay, it does, and you didn't think about that when you engaged in this kind of activity for all this time. Okay, so I'm giving him notice. He's put on notice. And for some reason, I'm channeling this right now. I'm not saying this on my own, Jennylyn, okay? I'm literally being sort of guided to tell this Dutchman right now he's put on notice.
Wow.
And should I? Yeah, they're feeling really very bold here. I don't know why, but they're feeling very bold. I didn't tell you this, but recently, not too long ago, I was actually shown that he was given sort of, a sand clock that you turn over and the sand runs through. A sand clock was presented to him and it was turned over. So a time started ticking. I haven't checked in with that sand clock. I was just reminded of it. I completely forgot about it, but I was just reminded of it. And they're reminding of this sand clock. And I'm getting the image right now, Jennylyn. The sand clock the sand is pretty close to running through. I mean, it's not fully completed, but that's, for some reason, they're really, really bold and they're putting him on notice today.
Good. Because I wanted to share with everyone. Yesterday, Mel was dealing with something personal. And when we check in with each other in the morning, she indicated that she had received some information that I don't know that she doesn't think it's pertinent to my show. But if you change your mind, you're welcome to share. I'm just making a reference to this. And she indicated that what she had received was going to affect her life. And immediately I became sad because I feel like she gives so much. Everything should flow perfectly in her life. So after she told me that, I decided I would not tell her what was happening to me because I couldn't expect her to deal with my problem when she has something that's sort of triggering her balance. So I decided I would be a hero and deal with the pain and not tell her anything. And this is what is disturbing to me. They know everything. And they know that I know what is going on. But I am powerless to help myself. And that I count on her to help me. Because I don't know anyone else besides Mel and my sovereign light family who could do anything about it. However, when I call them for help, rarely do I feel any relief. The only person who really helps me is Mel. And so I know that they're heavily monitoring us because they knew Mel was out of commission yesterday and they had a field day. I know when you watch the show and you listen to me, you can't connect how a person who is not physically touching me could cause me this kind of pain. And it's happening to me, and I cannot logically tell you how, or I cannot scientifically tell you how. I can simply tell you that I feel it, and it is excruciating. And for any of you watching who are having trouble understanding, Mel will tell you. I'll text her and say they've stuck something in my back, they've stuck something in my head, something in my ear, something in my chest, my uterus. And when she goes, she finds it. And so the great thing is, I know exactly where I am being attacked, and Mel knows how to go and remove it. So yesterday, I suffered. I suffered because all day long, I was attacked by reptilians, by demons. I had it all. I don't know if I was attacked by demons, but I know for sure I was attacked by reptilians. And normally, when they come in, I smell them. Yesterday, I did not smell them at all. I just felt the attacks. And last night, I was in the shower and I got the worst. It's like somebody came at me in my back with a torpedo, because I felt this intense pain in the middle of my back, which then escalated throughout my body, and all my arms and legs felt numb. And I went down in my bathtub. I didn't fall, but I went down because the pain was so intense. So then I was forced to reach out to Mel. So I broke the rule I made for myself yesterday, to be considerate of her time and her life and not keep bothering her with my issue. And I said, Mel, I'm so sorry. And when she checked, she goes, why didn't you tell me? It's so much. They've done so much. So Mel, if you want to take it from here and explain what you saw when you went in. And this was all Dutchman, by the way. And Mel heard him through the ether saying that I ruined his life, and that I said no to him, and nobody says no to him.
Correct. The energy that was attached to the attacks yesterday was just plain rage. And I kept hearing, you ruined my life. You ruined my life. Now, why would someone like that, who you haven't even been around or spoken to in, I don't know how many years, decades?
Over 20 years, 23 years.
Why would someone say that? Well, he would say that when, we have ruined his life magically, okay? That is precisely what he's referring to. He's in trouble because we are messing with what he's doing. And that due process I'm talking about is taking him down, okay? And I know this for a fact, and he knows this. This is why you ruined his life, because you're not cooperating. You're not this victim anymore. And by the way, before I continue, while you were speaking, Spirit wants me to tell you is that you are not powerless. You have a lot of power, okay? So you speak your power and you assert yourself, and you do that, and you stand up. You have stood up many times to the reptilians, and they have left, right? Yeah. So do not see yourself as a victim, okay? Even though you are being victimized, do not see yourself as a victim. You carry within you so much power, and that is precisely the kind of energy that they feed upon. So do not allow them to make you feel victimized, even if that's the easiest way to go, okay? So that's the message from Spirit right now. But yes, so, and back to what I found yesterday. I literally found, it's almost as if he threw everything at you that he possibly could, okay? There was things such like a machine, almost like a drill machine with a big drill in the back, okay? There were critters, like some sort of, I don't know, canine type critters that were on your legs and your back, behind. And there was no order to it. It was very chaotic. Having worked with his energy and having seen that he's precise into what he does, he used to sort of try to implant things and do things in a certain way, and none of that. And then the energy and hearing the energy speak about being in this rage and this frustration, and you ruined my life, is, it told me that he's at a point where he's just throwing everything that sticks and hoping it sticks. Okay. That's kind of what comes to mind. I'm going to throw everything at her and see what sticks. That's where we are. And that is not something that a man like him would do. And they're telling me absolutely not. So that's not something that he would do. This is an act of desperation. And again, I mean, choosing my words wisely here. I'm not being bold here or arrogant in any shape or form. This is not about me, okay? This is about this man who has literally spent 2 decades torturing you and doing things to you. And since I've been involved, he has upped his game because his ego has been hurt, right? And it has been bruised because he's been, taken away. As things have changed for him. And I'm going to say this too. Let me get the okay from my spirit team real quick. We have mentioned before that he is half reptilian or part reptilian, right? And my spirit team is telling me they're not happy with him. They're not happy with him at all. We're talking reptilians. So again, here's that thing what I was talking about. Remember earlier I said Sandra, she was messing with the demonic and overstepped the boundaries? This is exactly what he's doing. And in this case, it's not the demonic that is going to take him out. It is the reptilians that are going to take him out. Okay. And when I say take him out, I don't mean physically. I don't mean that they're going to take his life. That's not what I'm talking about. Okay. I would never say such a thing. Although, I mean, I don't know what these things do. Okay. I'm staying away from that, but they're not happy with him. Let's put it that way. Okay. They're not happy with him. And he knows they're not happy with him, Jennylyn. And this is why he's so frustrated. This is why he says, you ruined my life. Because he when it comes to reptilians, and I'm by no means an expert on reptilians, but I do know they have a very big ego. And they do not engage with human beings unless they absolutely have to, okay? Unless there's something of great interest that they have going on. And they also do not forge any bonds. So even amongst themselves, they don't really care if they have to take out one of their own, it's not, there's no connection there. Okay. It's always about always about the next step, always about gaining. Okay. Always about this. So this is the kind of mentality. That's just how they are. All right. At least the kind we're talking about. Again, the reptilian races, there are different kinds, and not every reptilian race is like this. And I want to be perfectly clear, but we're talking about specifically the ones that have been coming after you and that he's dealing with. Okay. So they're not happy. They're not happy with him. And which is why I'm going to mention this now, Jennylyn. Which is why we have his magical abilities have actually been so much less strong. And I'll tell you why I say this. When I go in and I remove if he does magic and I go in and I remove it, there have been times in the beginning where I literally, he has created these elaborate, illusions and even stuck you into a different reality and done all that stuff, right? The other day, I went to remove something from you, and it was literally almost like a stick-on. It was like a stick-on. That's what it was presented to me. It was flimsy at best. And I'm like, whose is this? Because it didn't, and my spirit team pointed me to him. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. This is like a stick on. This is not, it didn't look like anything that he could have done or would have done in the past. But that showed me that he can't do more. Okay. And we also know that the really, really bad attacks, when they do come, they are executed mostly now by reptilians themselves. Okay. They physically come to you, well, in the ethereal form, and they execute those attacks. The attacks that he is sending via his magical skills are not as strong, which is why you have shown you the poking and so forth. It feels different. It's no longer there. It's not as strong. He's losing power. His magical abilities are waning, okay, which is exactly also part of that due process, okay? I call it due process. That's the best way I can describe it. So, and I know he's going to watch this. I know he's probably going to be angry with you and with me probably coming at us in some shape or form, but that's the truth. Okay, we're not going to sit here and we're going to minimize the progress that we've made. Okay, you're still being attacked, yes, but the way in which the attacks are happening is different than it was before. And the way they're being executed is different. And that tells me, why fix something if it isn't broke?
Exactly.
Okay, so if you have to find a different way, then that means the old way isn't working anymore. And that is how I gauge progress. This is how I gauge progress with a Chinese woman, with Sandra, and this is how I gauge progress with Dutch men. Okay. Right. And this is how my spirit team sort of makes me aware of how we're making progress, because sometimes, I need sort of confirmation too. When you're getting attacked like this, I sometimes ask my spirit team, like, well, what's happening here? Why is this not changing? Right? Why are we still doing that? And they're just, just wait, and they're giving me, and again, they're giving me gestures that I started seeing with the Chinese woman. Okay, with the other one.
Are you hearing a beep, 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 beep on your end?
No beep. My phone just sort of, it didn't beep, but it just sort of.
I keep hearing a beep, beep.
Oh, a beep. No beep, beep here. It's on your end. So yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you because
No, that's okay. We're perfectly fine. I was already done with my thought. What I was just saying is that my spirit team is giving me indications that they did when Sandra was close to being eliminated. Okay. That's all I'm saying. Okay.
And just to be clear, we're not saying they're live. We're referring to their
no, not at all.
For hurt people using dark magic. And correct. I just wanted to clear something up. In case you aren't someone who has been following the series, this Dutch man is somebody I worked with since Noah was building his ark, feels like. And we dated, and that relationship ended back in 2003. It's probably the last time I communicated with this person. And the fact that he was somehow in his head still in a relationship with me just blows my mind. And based on what Mel has shared previously, branded me all over spiritually with stuff like if I belong to him. And this is someone that I refused 3 marriage proposals. So to me, if that doesn't tell you I'm not interested, then what does? Mel has indicated that he's obsessed with me, and I believe this obsession comes from the previous life interactions I've had with him. Apparently, I was his wife in another life, and Mel saw him recently in a lifetime, another lifetime you saw us together, right?
Correct. Exactly. It was one of those occasions where I was removing the energy that was attached to you, and I got flashes of a lifetime that wasn't mine. That was you and him, which I didn't know at the time, but it was you and him. And if you want, I can describe quickly what I saw.
Yes.
I saw him on a horse. Okay, him as in male form. Again, it was male, female. We're not always the same gender in every lifetime, but again, that was a male, female. He was on a horse riding really fast, and this was more like in ancient times. Okay.
I just got attacked. I'm so sorry. I can edit this out.
Oh, okay.
One second.
And he and you were somewhere. All of a sudden, it's kind of like a movie when someone is sort of riding by and leaning down from the horse and grabbing a person and throwing them in front of them over the horse, right? That's the kind of scene. That's the scene I was shown. So you were kidnapped. You were taken by force. That is, and then that's all I saw. Okay, that I don't know. So yes, there was no connection. There was no loving relationship. None of that. That we had in the other one, or that husband-wife type scenario. No, it was more. He snatched you up. It's like a raid of some sort. I don't know. Like, yeah. Yeah.
So in one lifetime, he kidnaps me. Another lifetime, he throws me overboard. And in this lifetime, he comes in and is branding me on his brand. Such insanity. And I know it's very difficult to wrap the conscious mind around all of this, but
Right.
it's true.
And as we're talking about this, I'm getting more thoughts on maybe what else is this I can do. As it's interesting as we are talking about it, I'm sort of getting an indication that yes, I'm not going to reveal what it is. Obviously.
Okay, good. No, you can't. You can't.
I don't want them to know, but it's coming into my awareness, and I'm gonna do that. So
okay, and we'll share that with you next week. We can't tell you before shooting because we'll be shooting ourselves in the leg. We are being heavily monitored. And just so you all know, I've decided not to edit it out. I just got attacked. But I will be fine until the end of the show, and I'm sure Mel can help me then. But this is the whole point. This person is constantly trying to destroy me. He knows he's going down, and in his crazy head, I should go down as well. And just so you guys know, Sandra Tongue and Arjen Bauman have both caused me immense suffering in this lifetime. And it has nothing to do with the physical attacks I've experienced because of both of them. They've blocked my lives. They've done horrible, horrible things. But now they get to go and sit at their table and enjoy their harvest. And I wish them well. Mel, this is starting to affect my voice.
okay. Oh wow. Okay.
I'd let you wrap up for me. So
okay.
was put in my chest.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. All right. Well, clearly we have to wrap this show today. I need to get to work on her, and I'm sorry that we have to end it this way, but this is very typical of what happens to her, and she's not making this up. You're actually getting a visual of what literally happens to her when these. And sorry if I'm stopping because I'm getting a download here, and I want to sort of inject this in here. The clock is ticking. The clock is ticking. And again, this is a message not for you. This is a message for him. For some reason, they're using me to tell him something, okay? Or telling the reptilian something. Something's happening, but the clock is ticking. And that is the message for them, okay? So we're going to wrap this up. I'm sorry, and I don't want to play moderator here, but we really have to go, and we hope to see you next week with hopefully more information on and updates. Okay, Thank you for watching.
Broadcasting from Silicon Valley, California, this is Conversations with Jennylyn.